What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3 of the StevoSupremo show. I am your host, StevoSupremo. Yeah, it took 2 weeks on this one, and I think everyone knows why. I mean, you're seeing the gameplay footage again here. Elden Ring came out, so that's what my focus has been on, putting everything I can put into this game. And as of recording this episode, I have beaten the game. I believe it was 88 hours, 86 hours. And I know I missed things because there's still hidden trophies and there's stuff where I need to go back because I wanna platinum this game. Every time I get a Souls game, I need to platinum it. So I need to go back and get some of the things you need to do to get the trophy list, because while playing through the game, that's not something I look at in terms of spoilers. So hopefully there isn't anything that I might have to replay the game for. But if so, then so be it. I don't care, because I plan on doing multiple playthroughs of it. But yes, the game has been beaten. I have beaten it. And a full review will be coming out on the channel, hopefully within a week or so. I really want to put a lot of time. It's going to be like the ultimate review. It's going to be an hour long. We'll see. But we'll get kind of into that later on. But that's what all the time has been going to that. This is still in the background footage of this video. It's just going to be very early gameplay of it, at least for my character, which ended up being nothing like the finished version of it, which is really cool about this game. It was a sorcerer, but man, with the new equipment, different gear, and it's just it was a blast. So anyways, hope everyone's had a good past 2 weeks. Hopefully everyone else has been enjoying some Elden Ring or Horizon Forbidden West, whatever you're playing right now, any of the new games. But kicking things off, I wanted to hit on this topic as we take a sip of drink. Which, by the way, I don't plan on this episode being too long, and I'm going to try to keep this between 30 and 45 minutes, so we'll see what happens. Any of you fellow adults here, or anyone in general, if you have children, your children ever make you feel stupid? I know my son does all the time, and he definitely gets his brains from his mother, because I'm nowhere near as smart as her, and he's probably already smarter than me. But he's 11 years old. He turned 11 in December, and he's really into video gaming and stuff now too. I got him into that years ago when he was 4 years old, and he started playing some Wii U, and he's been hooked on Mario and stuff ever since. And he really gets into games where he's really using his imagination and stuff, especially like in Mario Maker. He loves going in, making his own levels and stuff like that. Tetris 99, he had a blast playing stuff like that, where he's like using his brain, puzzle solving, and figuring that kind of stuff out. Really, really smart. So proud of him. And the other day, he was just like hanging out in his room, and he was sitting there with a Rubik's Cube, and he's had it for, man, couple of years now. It's a gift we got him way back when, like, here, try to figure this thing out, and like, okay, this is really cool, and they just put it to the side in a toy box, and it never sees the light of day again. Well, he was in there messing with it, and I was like, what's going on, man? He's like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. I'm determined to figure it out. He's like, there's tricks on how to do all this stuff. I've been looking it up, and I'm gonna figure this thing out. So sure enough, like, he's watching YouTube videos, tutorials, how to do it, and he ends up completing the Rubik's Cube. And I mean, he was ecstatic. I mean, hey, that's really cool, because I've never done it. But I mean, you watched a video in order to do it, buddy. So I don't know how much credit I could give you for it. He's like, no, I could do it without the video. Watch. So at this time, he had just been practicing in his room for a couple hours, like constantly. He's been hooked on it, mixing it up, getting it all messed up, and then putting it back together again. And I didn't know this. So I was like, sure, go for it, show me. And he's like, go ahead, mix it up. And so I mixed up the whole Rubik's Cube, and in like under 5 minutes, he had solved it. I was like, dang, that's actually pretty cool, because I've never in my life even tried to attempt to do a Rubik's Cube. And I know that there are tricks where people line up corners, stuff like that's how you get it. But even mentally being able to register all that and do it quickly it's beyond me. I don't even want to try to learn it. And anyone who can do it, it's awesome. So, of course, like the next day had passed and he's back in his room after school working on it again. He's like, hey, I want you to time me. And he got it down to like under 3 minutes his time, like finishing. He was so proud of himself. And now he's wanting to get all these other type of Rubik's Cubes. And I got him one where I guess it moves better because it's got some ball bearings and stuff in it. It spins faster. And I laid 2 of them out in front of him yesterday. I was like, all right, man, you got to solve both of these. And he solved both of them. I would say every 30 seconds, you have to switch up to the other Rubik's Cube. So you're not like you have to switch your focus back over from the different one. And he was able to do both of them in 3 minutes and 28 seconds. I couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, I'm proud just because I know I'm not trying to brag or anything about my son, but I am proud of him because he's really smart. And I just would never be able to figure anything out like that. And again, it just makes me feel stupid. Like all the time. My 11-year-old kid figuring out Rubik's Cubes. And I know, like, he's going to be one of these guys, one of these kids here in a short amount of time where they're figuring their thing out in like 20 seconds. And I can't wrap my brain around it, how they're doing it. So I'm sure you guys and girls probably have stories of your kids doing the same thing to you. But he does it all the time, especially when he comes home and starts talking about space. Because me being a fan of space and NASA and exploration and stuff like that myself, and he just can go on naming all these different space things that I have no idea about, the rovers and all these other things. It's just makes me feel dumb all the time, and he's only 11. So there's my little family story for the day. But to get into some stuff, with the big release, this is going to be like kind of like an Elden Ring focus, but not in the sense you would think. Elden Ring released incredible reviews, and it's been getting praised left and right, again with a very high Metacritic score. But along with that has come some controversy, and this has probably been something that's been around for a long time, and that's the game reviews themselves. The credibility we give to a lot of these companies when we're looking at their review of a game, we're putting faith in the quality of their content, that they're going to guide us in the good direction of, kind of whether we want to purchase something or not. I think nowadays, most people have kind of made up their mind way beforehand whether they want to get a game or not. I very rarely, when you hear someone say, I'm going to wait for a review to come out or something like that, it seems to be a rare thing. Like, you kind of know, you've done your research, and you would feel like yourself after seeing footage and stuff of a game, you would kind of know more than someone else who has different feelings about the game. Well, come to find out, a lot of these reviews that were releasing, a lot of them did not finish the game. I guess there was a time crunch from when the game was made available to even be able to play. And, these companies put deadlines on it. If Elden Ring was coming out on the 25th, a lot of the lifts get taken off like the day before or the day of. And I want to say a bunch of reviews were coming out a day or two before where the game was getting posted and all the good scores were coming in. But the people who got these games weren't given them until maybe like a week ahead of time, or less than that. Some of them got it 2 days before they were supposed to have the review out. And a company is saying, hey, I don't care when you get it, I'm paying you to do the review. It needs to be done by this day, or else, like today's, the news rotation and game review rotation, you're just going to be out of the cycle. If you're not day one on it, no one's going to look at it. I'm like me, I'm still going to do my review for my small channel, but no one will probably look at it. But I don't care. It's just something I want to do to put out there. But it's 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks after the time of the game came out. So who is looking up reviews now? So they're trying to meet these deadlines to get the review out real quick. But again, a lot of these people aren't finishing it because they don't have the time to finish the game. So they're releasing a review for a game out without completing it. And I think that's kind of like a hot button issue. You know, I can understand it with certain games like, say, like a Madden or anything like that, or any type of really sports game, really. Do you really need to put 100 hours into it to be able to give a review of it? I mean, no, the gameplay kind of stays the same throughout every match you're playing. So you can kind of get a review out there. But then you have games that are like this, Elden Ring, where again, I put in 80 plus hours and I know I missed stuff in it. You have other games like that could take like some JRPGs could take 100 hours. Where I think it's very important that you need to get to the end of the game. The gameplay of Elden Ring was completely, well, I wouldn't say completely different, but by the end of the game, again, I'm fighting different. My character is more powerful. I got different abilities I'm using, different skills I can utilize that kind of change up the gameplay tactics that I'm using. So it seems kind of tough to judge a game unless you see it all the way through to the end, especially when you're going off of stuff like story beats. Any JRPG that are very story heavy, text heavy, cutscene heavy. I think it's key that you have to play a game through the end. Now, again, if you have deadlines and they didn't give you the game early enough to get it out there, well, I think something needs to change in the industry to where either the review copies need to be given out earlier so these people can get their reviews out, or you just kind of you just gotta have to bite the bullet and like, hey, I can't release this until it's done. I mean, it'd be a credibility thing to me, man. I'd hate to put a review out for something and have not finished it. It's the only thing I like. If I stop playing, like I've stopped playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I think I said in another episode. It just feels like I'm playing through the show that I've already watched so many times, and the gameplay isn't all that super great. It has decent fighting in it, but it's rinse and repeat, same thing over and over every fight. So I put that down. I give my opinion of what I've played on it, but I wouldn't say it's a full-scale review of my thoughts on it. Just like, hey, from what I've played, this is what I think on it. But I would never give it like a final score of something because I didn't finish it. So I'd be curious to know what all of you all think when it comes to reviews like that. Are there some games that require, like, you need to finish it in order to put a review out there? Now, we're not saying 100% completion, and I'm sure most of the reviewers out there didn't 100% complete the game, at least before the review start. And again, if any even got them finished, because just taking your time with the game, you're gonna put, man, so many hours into a game like Elden Ring. It was insane. So be curious, real curious to know what you guys think. In my personal opinion, I think you should finish a game before you put your judgment out there and your final review on it. Even with games like a Mario game, like Mario Odyssey, where it's kind of like the platforming, like, you know, the gameplay, like this is how the game's going to play throughout the entire match. And okay, then you kind of have a feel for it and you can judge it. But again, until you experience every boss fight, I think it'd be tough to judge a Mario game. Because, you know, a lot of them are known for their very easy boss fights. But then it could be a Mario game where maybe the first two are easy. You put your review out. But then the next couple are actually quite challenging. So, I don't know. I think it's important that you finish a game. Unless it's one of those odd-end games where we're not odd-end, but like a sports game. Or if it's a puzzle game where you can kind of get the feel of it within the first 20 or so hours of how playing this puzzle game, it kind of works. A card game, I think those you can judge fairly simple. But man, these big games like this, you better finish it. and give people a real true review on what you've played throughout the whole thing. I think you lose credibility over it. So, and along with that, let's take another sip. Along with that, we have actually had some other drama around Elden Ring popping up. And that's been actually from developers of other games. Key ones being from Horizon Forbidden West. There's been some headlines making the rounds recently because, I mean, Elden Ring's kind of been getting knocked for the performance issues and stuff on PC. But there's been some developers from other games coming out and calling it out, questioning the UI on the game, again, the stability and stuff on PC and other things. And if I can find it, I'm going to bring it up here in just a moment. We'll pause right here while I try to look it up. All right, here it is. I found the tweets here, linking from some other articles on there from Sportspedia. Ahmad Salama, the fact that Elden Ring scored a 97 Metacritic is proof that your reviewers don't give a flaming poop about game UX. My life is a lie. Rebecca chimes in, nor PC graphics, stability, performance, apparently. And then Horizon Forbidden Blake chimes in and says, nor quest design, really. Now, what's crazy with all these people is they're kind of associated with other games. Ahmad, it has been linked to Battlefield 2042 and I believe Horizon Forbidden West as well. And Rebecca is connected to Horizon Forbidden West. And of course, Horizon Forbidden Blake is connected with helping and working on Horizon Forbidden West. So all these developers, I don't know what part they play in the game or what they did, but it seems it comes off a little petty because their game launched a little bit before Elden Ring, and now all of a sudden it's already in the back burner because Elden Ring took over everything. So I don't know if it's them just being salty, but I just thought it was hilarious because I've never really seen anything like that before, where they come out slamming a game that is just getting highly praised. And I want to say, isn't Horizon Forbidden West was reviewed really well? The problem with games like Horizon Forbidden West, and I mean, no need to offend anyone who's big fans of them. Again, I've yet to play the first one, so the second one I'm not going to even touch until I play the first one. But it just seems like, I don't know, after you get over the fact that you're fighting against these robotic dinosaurs in this open world, it kind of looked like and felt like any other open world game that kind of does the same thing. So I really had no drive to want to play it, and nothing about the main character made me want to jump into watching play the game either. So it's just interesting to see that they're knocking Elden Ring because it's like this guy says the gamer UX. I don't really know what game UX means, UI or the game experience. I mean, to each their own opinion, because everyone's going to have a different opinion with the game and how it plays. And people could say that with Elden Ring. It's just more of the same from Souls. Like, that's what the Souls games have been like, kind of the same rinse and repeat combat that we're seeing in here. But in my opinion, Elden Ring did so much more of improving upon the systems that they have built. And plus throwing in the open world, it was just incredible. And then talking about the PC graphics, stability, and performance. Again, I can't comment on that because I played on PS5. It would have been so much easier for me to get the PC version to be able to stream it and everything like that, and it probably would have looked even better. And I think it would have ran better frame rates and stuff on my computer because My computer is stronger, so I don't know the tech specs if it's locked out. Maybe it's only locked at 60, which it's just a crazy time. It's another topic I could get into, which I probably will. But I'm a guy who still looks at Super Metroid and thinks it's gorgeous. The game looks gorgeous from a graphical standpoint. And it is. It's like held to this day still as one of the best games of all time. Super Nintendo, it's always in everyone's top 10 for the most part, if not the top 3 or number 1 for Super Nintendo games. And it looks gorgeous. Beautiful game. And guess what? That game had horrible frame rate spots in it too. Other games from back in the day on NES, whether it's Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all had frame rate issues. Everyone's most beloved Final Fantasy VII, frame rate issues as far as JRPGs goes. But they still have great review scores. And that's based off of graphics, stability, and performance. Now, I know you're judging it from that time, but where have we come as people to where we're just knocking something because of, I know there are games that graphically, like to this day, I guess there's a bar you're supposed to hit. So if you fall short of the bar, sorry, your graphics suck. But I just don't believe that. There's games that come out that are like that Popeye game that came out that, yeah, like you threw the bet on that one, man. Like the game, it just looked bad, it played bad, everything was bad with it. But Elden Ring does not look bad. It looks gorgeous. And on the PS5, I had no issues at all with it, except for a couple battles where a boss might have frozen in place on me, and that was it. The frame rate stuff, if that happened, I didn't notice it because that's something that's never really bothered me. Like again, especially if I said you go back in the day, you play the older games, you're dealing with frame rate issues. But it seems like now, today's world, like a lot of other things, we can't put up with that stuff. We get spoiled with things, and it's just tough to go back and deal with those issues. But it's issues I didn't have when playing the game. So it's just weird how we get as a culture. It's like, especially in this the gaming side of things, how I guess there's a certain bar you're supposed to hit now with stuff, or you're just going to get ridiculed for it. So your game doesn't look like, didn't look as pretty as theirs. But from what I've heard from Horizon Forbidden West, that it was kind of teased that it was going to be this beautiful open world, but you're in a desert the whole time. So there is no color or nothing like that. So I don't know. It's just never been a big, huge thing for me. And I guess maybe it is for other people. So, but then Horizon Forbidden Blade, nor quest design, really. Quest design. When's the last time you played a Souls game based off of quest design? We go into a Souls game because we got one mission in hand. It's either to take the throne or something and kill a bunch of bosses along the way. Like, we don't care. They have very unique way of doing their side quests in the game where they're not hand holding you the whole time, which is what I guess every company thinks you need. Is you need to have an arrow here telling you where to go there. And I think there was a funny UI graphic someone put up. I'll probably cut to it here once I find it. All right, here it is. The the tweet that kind of went viral with, hey, we fixed the UI to how I guess every UI is supposed to look. And look how just horrible this looks compared to what the game is. It's the first time I've experienced that kind of disappearing health bar and everything where it's just your character is there roaming the world until you kind of get thrown into a battle. Then your stuff will pop up in the UI, and then when it does, it's just the stuff on the left here. It's just your equipment and the health. Like, that's it. Nothing else popping up until you pick up some runes, and then you'll see your rune thing pop up. But I guess this is what it's supposed to look like, a UI. You need the arrows, people telling you where to go. You need the mini map. You know, with all that being gone in this game is what opened it up and gave it so much more exploration for me. Yeah, people were getting upset because they were running. They felt like, man, I got to explore every corner of this map because I don't know what I'm going to find. And it seemed like a waste of time because I could run to this where I thought there might have been something and there was nothing there. But that was the whole point. That was the whole point. It put this world there so you could just walk to and explore it. It's like if I went out into the forest. I'm looking at a map and you're like, you know what? There's nothing on this map indicating that something could be here. But from where these mountains kind of meet down into this valley or something, maybe there could be a body of water or something, or maybe a river or a creek running through there. So let's go explore and see and take a walk through the woods and see if we can find it. And you walk through there, and sure enough, hey, there could have been a stream running right where you thought it was, or you might have found nothing, but you don't know until you go out and to explore. It's like in real life. I mean, we have arrows on our GPS guiding us where to go everywhere. I guess people are afraid to go out and just go and explore. I don't know. That's what made this game special to me, though, with that exploration. Even though you could run into a dead end and nothing be there and it was worth nothing. Or you might get lucky and find something really, really cool. So I just thought this was hilarious, this UI picture. So, anyways, we'll bring back up the Elden Ring ASMR gameplay. But yeah, I just thought it was really funny for other developers, other games coming out, just because, you know, it seemed like their game became old news really quick. And like I said, no disrespect to them or anything, or no offense, but the game seems for Horizon Forbidden West series just seems kind of forgettable, even though it gets these great reviews and I know people really enjoy it, but does it do anything super special? I don't know. I can't comment on it. I know it just didn't have an appeal to me like this game does, like the Souls games do, but again, to each their own. I just think it's funny that developers coming out and slamming it. And I want to say, just because of the popularity of this, I know the Souls games, I do not know the sales figures on like the games or anything or how well they do, but it seems like this is going to be, without a shadow of a doubt, their best performing game ever. Because when I say the Steam numbers on it were crazy, I think it already hit like in the top 10 of all times, maybe close to the top 5 of concurrent players playing the game within the first 2 weeks or something of the game playing, which is crazy. From a genre that was, it's a niche genre, just storming into the scene like it has been doing. It's you got to give it to them. You got to give it to From Software. And with that being said, I will talk a little bit more about Elden Ring itself. I don't want to go into a full-on review because, like I said, I'm gonna do a review later on for my channel. But initially, I mean, just an incredible game. I've already talked about the exploration and stuff. That's really what got, like, you can tell in the gameplay footage you're watching now of just me doing this part. Like, I'm walking around, looking through every corner, just looking at everything to making sure I'm not missing something, because I don't want to miss anything. Like, I don't want to miss an item that could be there, or a weapon, a spell, a talisman, just anything. I want to be able to find it. And I just felt so rewarded in just being able to have this game and play it in my lifetime. I'm glad to see it. I think there are rooms for improvement. I don't think the game was perfect. It still does some stuff that they'll do in their games once in a while, where I'll use an example. There's a part in the game where I guess in most of these games, line of sight is very important. Like, if the enemy can't see you, there's nothing they can do to you. So there's kind of a way of navigating around enemies. And newsflash for people who've never played a Souls game, not every enemy is put there intending for you to kill it. A lot of times these guys are laying enemies there as traps to bait you in. That's only going to lead to your death because you're going to have one guy that could be triggering another person, and it's just going to lead to your demise. Where, like, the best move is to just walk around it and ignore the battle. I think a lot of new players getting into the games, they think, oh, everything you see, you got to kill. No, you don't. Pick your battles and choose wisely. But man, it led me off track. Where okay, I remember the point I was getting to, but there was a point in the game where, like I was saying, line of sight is important. Getting around these enemies, you can sneak around them; they can't see you. But I hit a point in the game where all of a sudden, out in the wide open in this area, there's an enemy who, I mean, they're a long ways away. So I don't even care what they're doing. And I'm making my way along this like path you're pretty much supposed to go on to kind of work your way toward this enemy and possibly get by it. And all of a sudden, from an extreme distance out, this enemy just starts shooting projectiles at me. And it's making the journey a whole lot more complicated now to get where I need to go. And it ends up killing me several times. So stuff like that, and it seems like they do it in almost every game. It just, I don't know, it kind of breaks you from like the whole gameplay style you've been playing the whole time and been trained on playing, and we're just gonna throw it out the window now. Like line of sight matters except for this part. This is the only part where it's not gonna matter, so we can make this part a little bit more tougher for you. Stuff like that can annoy me, but it only happened like once, so I can forgive it for that. And then I was able to work my way by it and extract my revenge on this enemy who was hurling his projectiles at me. But it's just irritating stuff like that. It's like when you walk into, and this game will have it too. You'll walk into an area where there's, maybe it's a fort that's dilapidated and no one's in it anymore, but yet here's some weapons laying on the floor, but you can't pick up any of the weapons. Just don't put them there. I don't know. Things like that, little things, but nothing that would take away from the game at all. At all. Anything else that would be like a nitpick that I would speak on now? I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I know, but it just comes with build variety. I know me playing as a sorcery build, I had very easy time with bosses, just playing as this range fighter. Then at other times, it's you could tell like being at ranged and being squishy didn't even matter with some of these bosses. So it's like, man, if only I had this very popular like Dex bleeding builds that just cause all this blood loss for people. Like, yep, this build right here could just dominate this boss if I had that, but I don't, and I don't want to respec. So, but you're gonna run into that with any type of build. I mean, you could beat this game any build you want to do, any route you want to go down. I for sure think it's beatable the whole game. And I've only run into one boss so far right now who, man, it's... Luckily, it's an optional boss. That's all I'll say from here. But the boss has been... I still need to take down this said boss, and there could be even more that I need to take down in the game. Maybe it's some more of the trophies that I'm missing, but man, oh man, I don't know how it's gonna happen. Let's just say that I can't talk about anything like that because I don't want to spoil the game. But boss has a mechanic that's just tough for me to work through as a spellcaster, and it has an attack that it's just almost seemingly impossible for me to try to dodge because I get one shot anytime I get even touched by it. So I don't know. It might be the one and only battle. I might have to summon a person to come in and help me because I played through this game just by myself, and with all of the online turned off. So I wasn't seeing any of the signs. It was all game default. The only help I would have were the spirit summons, these ashes to help me out for battles. And they proved very handy in a lot of the battles. I think you saw some of the footage of it earlier from this gameplay session. So they were pretty powerful. But all in all, I mean, it just was a treat to be able to play this game. I loved it, loved every moment of it. Even when that thing was hurling all its projectiles at me, the area I was in was gorgeous, and the design of it was like, man, like they keep just like doing it again, like creating these things I'd never imagined myself being in playing a game through. So I don't know. It was quite the experience, and I can't wait for my review to come out. So but anyways, I know this was kind of a rambly episode, but I hear my kids going crazy outside the door, even though I requested them to try to keep it down. So I guess that's signs for me to wrap it up. And I know it was going to be a short one. Like I said, it was going to be a short one this time. Just want to get some thoughts and some things out there. And yeah, I guess that's it. So be on the lookout for the review. And again, still got other stuff in the work. It's just a matter of time before it comes out. So anyways, until then, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Later.